Hello and welcome to the Miles Irvin Show. I'm your host, Miles, and we are now in the month of November, the first full month of NBA basketball. October just wrapped up Halloween games last night. We had three of them. A couple of them were duds, but we did have one terrific finish to a game that we are going to get to. We're going to preview all those games from last night, as well as a look ahead forward to tonight's matchups, which there are a lot of cool, intriguing matchups coming up tonight. Before I begin the video, leave a like and subscribe for NBA content coming to you on the Miles Irvin Show from Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. I'll have my podcast linked in the description as well. Go check out the Run in the Paint pod. I'll have the guys and I are gonna do a video later on this week to preview the in-season tournament, which begins this Friday. So stay tuned for that. But with all that said, let's get into these games. So first, let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs getting an unbelievable victory in Phoenix by the skin and their teeth. I don't even know. They won 115 to 114, and that was their only lead of the game. The Spurs led this game for 1 second, and it was the last second, and they got the victory. This was a crazy game. Coming into this game, when I was looking at the schedule, when everyone's looking at the schedule and they see Spurs-Suns, the first thing you think is, all right, you've got Wemby versus Durant in their first ever matchup. You've got Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers that we've ever seen, arguably the greatest score. He's the greatest scorer I've ever seen. As far as like you got a 7 foot guy who can handle the ball like a guard and hit shots from all over the floor, going up against Victor Wembanyama, rookie, who is like the biggest unicorn to ever come into the NBA. So their first ever matchup, it'll be cool, but the Suns will probably blow this one out and get a good victory, good team victory. They'll get a nice blowout win. And that's what it was looking like for the first for the first part of this game, with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker out of the lineup still, they still have yet to the three of them have not played a game yet together for the Suns. Booker's played a little bit. But even with those guys out, you in a game where let's see, how many threes did the Suns hit? The Suns shot 18 for 39 from 3 in this game, and you got massive contributions from a ton of players, mainly your starting backcourt, which is normally Booker and Beal, their backups. You start Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen, and they gave you 9 combined threes. Grayson Allen, 19 points, Eric Gordon with 20. And, that alongside Kevin Durant having a fabulous performance, okay, the Spurs are going to win this one, or the Suns are going to win this one pretty easily. I believe they had a 20-point lead. They had a 20-point lead in the third quarter of this one. And, I thought it'd be wraps, but to end the third and start of the fourth, the Spurs kept making a push to get back in the game. And a lot of it was Trey Jones, Jetty Osman had some good minutes for the Spurs, but it was, of course, I wouldn't say big three, but the three best players for the Spurs all having very solid performances with Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and Victor Wembanyama. Wemby and Vassell each had 18, and Keldon Johnson, the hero, with 27 points. And yeah, man, we've got to talk about that last minute of play. The Suns, um, Kevin Durant had just made a terrific driving move to the basket, got a wide open dunk, and the Suns had a 5-point lead with, I want to say, like 50 something seconds remaining. This was like the final minute of the game. Yeah, it was with a minute remaining. And the next play, Keldon Johnson just pulls up from 3, bricks it, and then it goes out of bounds. It stays with the Spurs, but I'm just like, okay, this just seems like the Suns are going to win this game. Immediately, immediately, the Suns subbed in Yuta Watanabe for Yusuf Nurkic, because a big reason why the Spurs were able to get back in this game was their zone defense was terrific. They forced the Suns to take some difficult shots. and it threw the Suns off. That's what the purpose of a zone defense is. It's to throw the other team off of rhythm, and that's exactly what happened when the Spurs threw the zone in the second half. And Yusuf Nurkic actually made a couple threes in the fourth quarter, but you need some quick trigger release guys in there. That, or at least that's what Frank Vogel was thinking. So he threw in Watanabe in the final minute of the game. So the Spurs are taking it baseline out of bounds with 51 seconds left. They immediately throw it into Wemby, who just catches and hits an elbow shot, just a beautiful jumper, and it's right back to a 3-point game. So Spurs are back in business. All you need is a stop, and you should be good. And Watanabe misses a corner three off of good ball movement. It was an open look, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" If he hits this after being on the bench for all this time, my, hats off to him. He's had a very good start to the season for the Suns, but he missed it. Devin Vassell got the rebound, and Greg Popovich did not call a timeout. He just told his team to push ahead, which they did not. It basically turned into just a one-on-one isolation for Devin Vassell to just fire away a deep three to try and tie the game, which he missed it. But Wembanyama was right there to get a put-back dunk with 7 seconds left, and it's down to a 1-point game. So you're like, all right, Spurs, they got to try to get a steal. They got a foul. Suns, just get it in, draw a foul, don't turn it over, play the free throw game, and you should be good. So they throw the ball into Kevin Durant. He catches and is immediately trapped in that corner by Trey Jones, and then Keldon Johnson came in and just took the ball out of Durant's hands and drove inside and finished a very difficult shot over Josh Okogie. And the Spurs, that was their first lead of the game with 1.3 seconds remaining. Suns called a timeout to advance the ball. They still had a chance to win the game, but they played terrific defense on that final play. Kevin Durant missed a tough jumper on the baseline with Johnson defending, and the Spurs win this game. Absolutely incredible finish to this game where I thought for sure the Suns would just blow it open and, just extend the lead and their offense would be enough to do it. But their problem in this game, in the second half, was their turnovers. They had 19 turnovers. I mean, I guess this was all throughout the game. The Spurs came out pretty flat. I mean, Craig Popovich called a timeout 53 seconds into this one. But because they were turning the ball early, but later in the game, it was the turnovers by the Phoenix Suns that got the Spurs back into the ball game, and it ended up winning them the game. So incredible. The Spurs now go to 2-2 on the season, 500. For the Suns, I mean, it's just hard to gauge them until all three of their guys get back, playing together so we can actually see them on the floor for the first time. But this is just a tough loss at home. I mean, you've gotta win a game when you're up 20 in the third quarter at home. So it's a tough loss for the Suns, but terrific victory on the road for the Spurs. It's very impressive comeback victory from a young, inexperienced Spurs team. I was very impressed by that victory. Now, moving on to the two other games of the night that weren't all that great. First up, we had a playoff rematch of the first round from last year, where the New York Knicks blew out the Cavaliers in Cleveland by a final of 109-91. And this is a tough game because, of course, for the Cavs, you've got Garland out, you've got Jared Allen, who hasn't played yet this season. Karis LeVert was a late scratch for this one. Donovan Mitchell played. Evan Mobley played. But overall, it was really just the Donovan Mitchell show, especially in the first half. He basically kept the Cavs in striking distance in the first half, with his like 21 points or however many he had. But in the third quarter, the Knicks just exploded to begin. The Cavs missed their first 11 shots, and the Knicks just took over and blew the game open there. A great victory here for the Knicks. They definitely needed a good pick-me-up victory after starting 1-2 in their first 3 games. And they get good performances, solid performance from RJ Barrett. Jalen Brunson, he turned the ball over a few times, but I thought that overall he was pretty solid. Julius Randle was okay. He had certain he got to the free throw line a bunch, which was super good for the Knicks there because his jump shot hasn't been falling a lot to start the season. So him getting to the free throw line is going to be huge for the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson again was dominant. Um, rebounding wise on the offensive boards. And off the bench you get Emmanuel Quickly and Hartenstein combining for 31 points. I mean, that's super big time right there for the Knicks. Big victory here in this first set of a home and home series. The Cavs and Knicks do it again in Madison Square Garden tomorrow night or tonight as I'm recording this video. So um that'll be super interesting. For the Cavs, I mean, like I said, it's tough to really gauge how they are. They're now 1-3 on the season, but with their guys in and out of the lineup, it's really hard to gauge this team. I will say to begin the season, I've been super impressed by Isaac Okoro. He's improved, pretty nicely to begin the season. He's looked very solid. Uh, Mobley in the first half, I thought was solid on the rebounding edge and defensively, but in the second half, he just played a poor game. He just played a poor second half. Um, and he's got to be better, man. Evan Mobley just has to be better. Um, he has these performances like this past Saturday against the Pacers. He had a 30-point double double. Then in this one, in a big game, a playoff rematch, while your guys are still out, this is a playoff rematch. You got to try to make a statement after you were physically manhandled last year. And he only gave you 6 points. Like I said, the rebounding was good. He got 12 rebounds. He had 5 assists because, once the Knicks started blitzing Donovan Mitchell at half court, coming to double team him, Evan Mobley would just be the guy to make the play there. And he's one of those guys that's going to make the right play. But yeah, once they stopped playing, single coverage on Donovan because he was just getting whatever he wanted to start the game. It was tough for the Cavs to score. It was just really tough for the Cavs to score, and it's always going to be hard for this team especially when their guys are out, when guys aren't hitting shots. You've got, Max Strus and George Niang struggling from downtown. I mean, George Niang, this was his best game of the season so far. But you have Dean Wade going 0 for 4 from 3, Strus 1 for 7. Unexpected, very good minutes from two rookies in Imani Bates and Craig Porter Jr. came in, were very impressive for the Cavs. So we'll see if guys are back in the lineup tonight in New York. We'll see if Garland gives it a go. Mitchell probably will. We'll see if LeVert tries to give it a go. But overall, I mean, still the Cavs definitely still have some work to do to get everyone together. But for the Knicks, you just got to beat the team that you're in front of, and they did that tonight. I mean, for this is a game where, while it is a playoff rematch, like with all the Cavs guys out, this was a game that the Knicks were supposed to get a blowout victory in, and that's what they did. So kudos to the Knicks. They beat the Cavs up a lot in the second half, and we'll see if they can do it again here tonight in New York City. Final game of the night, and that was the Magic Clippers game, and boy, oh boy. This was ugly in the first quarter. So the Clippers end up winning this game 118-102. And with this final score here, you would not expect that the first quarter we had a combined 31 points from both teams. The score was 18-13 after the first 12 minutes of play, and it was just bad. It was really ugly, and the Clippers just got hot in the third quarter specifically. I mean, the Magic obviously playing the Clippers tough. This was their second straight game in LA of a back-to-back. They had just lost to the Lakers the previous night on a Monday night. And trying to get this victory. This is a young Magic team who's played some good basketball to start the season, and they came out and they were defending the Clippers extremely well to begin the game. And in the second quarter, then shots started falling. The score in the second quarter was 34-32 Clippers. But then the third quarter, it was all Clippers. They outscored the Magic 41-21. And a lot of that was Paul George. Paul George, I mean, I was just going through like the stats and like score of this game. The score was 33-27 midway through the second quarter. 33-27 with 6 minutes in the second quarter. I mean, that is unheard of for an NBA game, especially nowadays. And then Paul George did not score until the 4:07 mark in the second quarter, but he immediately got going after he saw the first one go through the basket. He ended the second quarter with 10 points in the last 4 minutes and then scored 14 more in the third, including 4 threes to really open up the game. Um this is a game where Kawhi Leonard really struggled, just went 3 for 11 from the field. And it's also a scenario where, because of the James Harden trade that went through yesterday, those rotation guys like Batum, Covington, they're not in the lineup. So you need to adjust because, the trade hasn't gone official yet. Harden and Tucker, I believe, just got there right before the game. They were in the building to watch the game. But they got some solid play from Kobe Brown. Their young player there had 7 points off the bench. Bones Highland stepped in, had 17 points in his first start for the Clippers. That was good to see. Westbrook and Norman Powell were both good in that one. So good victory here for the Clippers, and the Magic just still good. They just got to find a way to play a complete 48 minutes against, these really solid teams, because so far they're 2-2 record. They lost that really close one to the Lakers. They just got manhandled in the third quarter against the Clippers, and that lost them this game. But then their only victories are against two pretty mediocre black teams to start the year when you look at Houston and Portland. So they need to find a way to get some wins against superior teams if they want to get a good record, and try to get them into a playoff positioning. So yeah, that is all three games from the Halloween slate of games. So now let's get into the player of the night. With only three games, not a whole lot to pick from, not a whole lot of performances to pick from. But let's see who it is on this Halloween. Who is the player of the night? And it is Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson had to be right with that incredible finish to that win in Phoenix, getting that steal against Kevin Durant, the game winner. And it wasn't even just that. I believe he had 18 points in the second half of the game. And he was a huge part of getting the Spurs back in the game, along with Devin Vassell and Victor Wembanyama. But that game-winning steal and finish there to close out the game just gets him the player of the night for October 31st. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If Keldon Johnson sort of won the player of the night, I think other candidates for this were Paul George, who I just mentioned, and Kevin Durant, Donovan Mitchell were also in there. But I also, now that I just brought up Durant's name, gotta bring up, just the Durant versus Wembanyama matchup at the end of the first quarter. Kevin Durant just had that guy one-on-one isolation, just took him inside, step back baseline jumper, nothing but net. I mean, Kevin Durant, he taught Wemby, hey, I can score over anyone. I can score over anyone, even if you're 7'4" and very athletic. That was crazy. And then you had that sequence at the end of the first half where Durant dunked over Wemby, and then the very next play, Victor Wembanyama had a poster dunk. That was crazy. That was an insane ending to the first half of that game. And just a terrific battle between those two guys there. I mean, you got one of the greatest scorers of all time versus like the most hyped up prospect in 20 years with Wembanyama. So great to see those two guys go at it and show each other a lot of respect as well for their games and their progression. So looking ahead to tonight's games, there are a lot of games going on tonight. But the two main ones, the two on ESPN, the two main ones that I really wanted to preview here, we've got the New Orleans Pelicans visiting the Oklahoma City Thunder in a rematch of the play-in tournament from last season, where the Thunder upset the Pelicans. Of course, that was without Zion Williamson in the lineup for New Orleans. Now he is there. He's healthy for the Pelicans and looking good to start the season But of course, the Thunder are looking incredible as well with a 3-1 start to the season. So that should be plenty of fun to watch with those two young squads going at it. And then the second game of the doubleheader, you've got the Battle of LA for the first time this season. The Clippers and Lakers going at it at 10 o'clock on ESPN. I'm interested to see, well, first of all, if Harden will make his debut in a Clippers uniform tonight. I highly doubt it considering he just got there last night, and I'm sure that Ty Lue wants to get him into a couple practices. But on a second night of a back-to-back for the Clippers coming off of the Magic game last night, will they look to sit any players? Now I know that the resting policy will prohibit that, but you never know. I'm still a little skeptical on how that's all going to work. But those are the two big games heading on tonight. Of course, there are a couple of more playoff rematches from last year going on. Like I said, the Cavs Knicks in New York. We'll see if any of those other guys for Cleveland will be in the lineup to try to help the Cavs out there a little bit. But then we have the Kings and the Warriors going at it. This time it's in San Francisco. Those two teams fought in Sacramento on Friday. Steph Curry closed out that game, but no De'Aaron Fox for that one. He injured himself in the Kings overtime win against the Lakers over the weekend, so he will be out for that one. But still a fun matchup. Still fun whenever those two teams play against each other there. Leave a comment down below what you think about all of these games occurring tonight, ones that happened last night, what you're most looking forward to in the next few days before we get into the in-season tournament. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. I'm your host, Miles. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.